You know the type. Someone you can argue with for 30 minutes. Someone who will change the subject 3 times. Someone who will explain the same point from a slightly different angle just to avoid using 2 small words. I was wrong. They can't say it. Not because they don't know they're wrong, but because something inside them will not let them. It's not stubbornness. It's not pride in the simple sense. It's something much deeper, and it often starts long before you think it does.
Where the wall gets built. Most people who can't admit they're wrong aren't trying to be difficult. They were trained early. Maybe one time, long ago, admitting a mistake cost them something. A parent who got angry, a teacher who made them feel small, a moment where honesty led to punishment. So the brain made a quiet deal. If I admit I'm wrong, I will be hurt. And from that day on, admitting a mistake felt unsafe. Not stupid, not weak, unsafe. The body remembers what it was taught. The walls built back then are still standing, and that's why no amount of evidence will change their mind. You can show them a book, you can show them facts, you can show them a recording of themselves saying the exact opposite of what they're now saying. It still won't matter, because the issue was never about being right. It was about being safe. And that's something most people don't realize about someone who refuses to back down. They aren't fighting you. They're fighting the memory of the last time they were honest and got burned.
The energy it takes to stay right. Admitting you're wrong takes a small amount of courage. Most people think it takes a small amount of pride to avoid it, but it's the opposite. Staying wrong takes huge amounts of energy. It requires defending a position you secretly know is weak. It requires ignoring a voice inside that's asking to be heard. It requires performing certainty you don't feel. And that performance is exhausting, because every time you deny the truth out loud, you create a small fracture inside yourself. A quiet disconnect between what you know and what you say. Most people who can't admit they're wrong feel this disconnect every day. They just don't talk about it. They distract themselves. They change the subject. They re-enter the same argument later with slightly different words. Because stopping the argument means feeling the fracture. And feeling the fracture means facing the original wound they've been running from. So the cycle continues. Not because they're bad people, but because they're tired. And tired people defend what they know, even when it's no longer true. And this is where most arguments between people stay stuck for years. You're not arguing about facts. You're arguing with someone's survival instinct.
What it looks like to let go. People who can admit they're wrong usually share one thing in common. They feel safe enough to be seen. Not perfect, not respected in the public sense, just seen. They don't need to be right because they already feel accepted. And that doesn't come from confidence. It comes from experience. A moment where someone said, "I'm sorry I reacted that way." A moment where someone said, "Thank you for being honest with me." A moment where being wrong didn't lead to rejection. Those small moments add up, and over time they teach the nervous system something powerful. Being wrong doesn't mean being unsafe. Once that lesson lands, admitting a mistake becomes just a sentence, not a collapse, not a threat, just a sentence. And that's the kind of freedom most people who refuse to back down never got to learn, because no one ever made it safe enough for them to fall. If this made you see someone differently, I made a short free guide on protecting your mental space and understanding the people in your life a little more deeply. The link is below. No pressure, just something small to help you see things with a little more compassion.